Hey everybody, John with Owl. I've got my owl mask. Safety first, my friends, but I've never really been the kind of guy that can pull off a scarf. So since I'm by myself, I'm taking it off. What we're gonna work on today, very likely many of you will never do, but I love working on cars. What can I say? This steering wheel, it's not bad looking, but look at this. Oh yeah, how beautiful that is. That is a carbon fiber AMG steering wheel. How good is that gonna look right there? Look at that. With the Scheelman seats. Man, if that doesn't get you excited, you shouldn't own a van. That's pretty awesome. Anyway, I am gonna show you how to swap out your steering wheel, should you ever be so inclined. The first thing we're gonna do, and let me show you down here, disconnect the battery. This plastic door opens here, and behind that is a battery disconnect. If you didn't already know that, that is a handy thing to know. You can disconnect the battery. Otherwise, you have to pull up the whole floorboard under your feet, and it's a pain. So the first thing we're gonna do is disconnect the battery. Then what we're gonna do, now explain this to me, Mercedes. To get a steering wheel off, you actually have to cut a little hole. It's super hard to see. It's right there, you can feel it though. You guys see that little indentation? If you can't, you can look at this wheel. See where that little cut, that indentation, that cut in the leather is? So first thing we're gonna do is poke a hole in that, and then what happens is you're sticking a prong in there, and that will pop the right-hand side of the airbag off, and then we'll stick a prong in here to pop the left-hand side. And the reason we wanna disconnect the batteries, anytime you're doing anything, you don't wanna throw air codes, you also wanna make sure that we don't have an airbag go off in your face. I don't know how likely that is to happen, but I value my cervical spinal cord enough that I don't want that to happen to me. So I'm gonna start popping this off. I'm gonna do my best to record it while I do it. Once you get inside, there are a couple Allens. There is a giant 10mm Allen dead center that holds it on. The other thing you wanna do, which I don't really have right now, is you wanna make sure your wheel is totally straight. That way, when you put the new wheel on, you know that all you have to do is get it straight. Okay, so now we're totally straight there. And let's get rolling. Item one, a knife. It's that Australian movie with Crocodile Dundee. He would be very underwhelmed by the size of my knife. Okay, so I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna find that little hole. I'm gonna cut me a little slit in it. All right, like a tiny, tiny little bit of surgery. Now there's no real rhyme or reason to this. You kind of just get that thing in there. Let's see if I can give you a better shot here. Kind of just see if I can do this at once. You kind of just jam. Oh, look at that. Popped it. See how easy that was? Now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Click you back up here. While I do that. Oh, judging by that beep, you know what I didn't do is I didn't disconnect the battery yet, which I just told you to do. So give me a second on that. Come on, panel. All right. Well, that panel's off. Let me show you in there. The little red thing on top, you want to push that down while you pull it back. So now the battery's disconnected from the van or coach if you're at an RV dealer. And we're gonna cut another hole in the steering wheel here. You hear my Roam Rig battery system squawking and saying I have low voltage. Look at that. All right. So you kind of, there we go. All right. Woo. All right, so let's take a look at what's in here. I'll move these things. So to pop that, I just used a small screwdriver. Take it back. All right, airbag coming out. So you've got one airbag clip here. There's a prong on the top and a prong on the bottom. You want to squeeze those together. There we go. This airbag, is it the same? Let's see. Is it the same? It is not. So we have a slightly more modern airbag. All right, so we'll set you off to the side. Now what you're gonna see in here, center nut that holds the entire wheel, and that's a 10 millimeter. You have 3 Torx, or Torxuses, as I like to call them. Those, see this? See that movement? That is the horn. So you actually don't want to tighten these all the way down because your horn will be on 24/7. So you want to tighten these down so there's enough play. You kind of get a feel for it before you take it off, so you see how much play there is. You want to get that about the same when you take it off. You've also got this little nubbin here that we will back off. This is the power for the horn. Okay, so that's undone now. So now I'm gonna take, these are, I believe they're T20s. We'll take those out and we'll keep going. Okay, so now you can see, ooh, it smells very automotive. You see the springs in there to keep the horn from being on all the time. So what you can do actually is just take these and put them in your cup holder where you're not going to lose them. Now we've got this thing in there, which is actually a little bit of a pain to get out, or at least I thought it was, because you have to take these, which are, what size Torx are those? Are those the same size? I can't remember. Yes, also T20s. So now we can take this off. And what that's going to do is allow us to get that bracket out of there, which we need to retain and use again. Now watch, I'll get this whole thing installed, and I'll find out that something on the 2 is not compatible, but we'll find out. That's part of trying things. Although it's more fun for me to try it, and then if it doesn't work, it's not a big deal. For you guys to try it and it doesn't work, it's a bigger deal. So then, here's where things get ugly. This is a T10. That's a big old bolt that's real tight. So I'm actually gonna take one more clip out. This is the, it's actually not, what is this? Yes, this is, I think it's this plate which connects these, all these buttons connect to this back plate here, which connects to that thing. So we got to get that one out. It's the same as the airbag side. It's a little bit more fiddly last time I tried it. Oh, nope, this one comes off easily, so that's out now. Now I'm going to get this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, there's no way you're going to get this off like this. You're going to need a breaker bar. So I'm going to go get a long piece of tube. I'm going to connect it to this so I can get enough torque to get this off. Now again, you want make sure your steering wheel is straight when you do this, because you're going to put your new steering wheel on. If your new steering wheel isn't straight when you put it on, you're going to be going down the road driving like this. So Crocodile Dundee might not have been impressed with the size of my knife. Look at the size of this pipe. That's what I'm talking about. All right, let's get this wheel off. So this pipe over the top of the wrench, and the wheel's going to turn, but that's all right. I might have to get someone to hold this. Hold it with my other hand. There we go. Look at that. Woo! Be careful too with the end of your pipe that I made sure that it was out here in the ethos, not against the window, because if that thing breaks loose and your pipe hits your window, game over. See what I stupidly did? I put the pipe right in the jamb of the door down here, which means that I'll forget it's there, and then I'll try to close the door and it'll put a giant dent in the inside of my door because I'm a moron. All right, making progress. Are you ready? Are you ready? Ooh, look at that. So now what we got to do is remove this part. Well, on this wheel, different from my other one, look, there's some Torxuses on the back. Look at that, I didn't see those. That might help. The other wheels I have don't have those. I was like, why is that not coming off? All right, that's better. All right, there we go. Probably should have done it beforehand, but you've got these the clips on both sides for the buttons and the paddle shifters. You can go ahead and plug those back in. I know many of you will probably never change your steering wheel, but there are actually some really cool options out there. There's some folks making all kinds of custom steering wheels, and I don't know, thought it'd be fun to do. So there you go. None of it's hard. It's just time consuming to get those little connectors. Someone answer me this in the comments. Why do car manufacturers have a different style connector for every single connector? I don't mean different shape. I mean a different way that they unlatch. I feel like if you're buying those all from the same source, you should be able to find a connector that unlatches the same way, and that way it's not a freaking mind-warping puzzle to disconnect these things every time I want to disconnect the connector. Listen to me, Mercedes. It's annoying. All right, so now, where are we? This is going back in. Look at that. And then, you know what? I'm going to put the big Mamba back in here. The center bolt. And it's already got some blue Loctite on there, so you should be all right. You shouldn't need to put anything more on it. I'm gonna get this tight again. You wanna make sure that your steering wheel is straight and your wheels are straight. All right, so I've gotten the nut as tight as I can get it with just this little hand wrench. I gotta break out Big Bertha again. All right. I'll make that nice and tight. If your steering wheel comes off while you're driving, that's a bad thing. So next, once you get all that installed, you can put your horn plate back in. And remember, you want to slide that little, there's like a little yellow wire right here. You just want to slide it over a little tab. Don't forget about that or your horn won't work. Then you want to grab those bolts you had before again. So like I said, there are a number of really cool steering wheels. If you join some of the Mercedes performance groups on Facebook, I actually got this steering wheel from somebody named RU Carbon on Instagram. That's RU as in the letter R and the letter U, and then Carbon. Can make some pretty cool stuff. And there are a number, like I said, there are a number of suppliers out there that you can get steering wheels from. You can find all kinds of cool stuff. All right, so that's about, remember I told you when we started this, you want to tighten these to the point where you get kind of some good positive feel there. That's pretty good. And then this part's pretty easy and fun. Make sure you got the right airbag. I think it's this one, right? Does that look right? Which one of these is the right? All right, and then just kind of line this up, and this is the easy part. Theoretically, Again, I said theoretically. The reason it's not mounting, this bolt right here is hitting that. So I gotta take a disc and go cut this off and that off. All right, so we ran into a little snafu with this. I couldn't get it in. It turns out that these studs right there are much longer on this airbag from the steering wheel from a different car than on the Sprinter. So cannot say I recommend this at home. But I took a cutoff disc, cut the studs off that were hitting those two. Obviously makes me a little bit nervous to take a grinding wheel to an airbag that theoretically should require an electrical charge to go off, but you know, a little pucker inducing, shall we say, nonetheless. So I'm reconnecting the horn, so that works. And you can still hear that incessant beeping in the background, I'm sorry. So now we'll put this back in. Oh, there we go. Nice. Look at that. Boom. How good that looks. It's moving the wheels, it's moving the tires. That's a good sign. See, I did it with my little knife. Look at that thing. All right. Think that looks good? Look at that. Got the carbon, got all these. So I'm gonna connect the battery and let's make sure everything works. Prong you took off earlier, and pressing it back on until it clicks. Putting that panel back in place, which I realistically on my van should just leave off since we do this so much, but there's power back in the van. Move this out of the way. Move my tools out of the way. Start it. That's a good sign. So the buttons are working, you can see this. The swipers, the volume, it's all working.